All right, guys. Well, here we are. It's like 4 in the morning right now. I've had a wild ass night tonight. Um, I honestly I think it deserves its own Patreon monologue. One reason that I want to not spend too much time doing an introduction here is because I promised that I would get the finale for New Mexico to you guys, and I'd like to follow through with that. But it's been a really interesting night. I got some of this night on video. So I'm up in Santa Barbara. We pretty much had to rush up here because this whole thing with Karina's insurance, she was supposed to do her doctor's appointment to get the sonogram for a new kid. She's not seen a doctor yet, and she's probably like 11 weeks pregnant right now. That's not good. The insurance got switched. We used to live up here. The address changed, and we had an appointment down there, but since that insurance got canceled, now we had to come up here, and we had to get up here like get up here in 13 hours. We're not going to see you. Fuck your baby. We're like, oh my God. All right. I like threw all of our stuff. So we came up here, and then, I wanted to do couldn't do a video in the hotel room. Now, the reason we get a hotel when we're in Santa Barbara now is because of COVID. My parents are in their late 70s. They won't let us stay there. So we just get hotels when we come up here. I went out to the car to do a video, and I don't know why, but my particular car, if you charge your phone, well, the car has to be on, first of all, for you to charge the car. But for some reason, my headlights go on if the car's on. Like, there's no way to turn the headlights off. If the car's on, that's it. It's a 2017 BMW. It's little 3 Series BMW, and I can't record a video without the lights being on. So I was like sitting in the parking lot, vaping. There's like all this fog and shit in my car. And the security guy came up to me. He's like, hey man, can you roll the window down? What are you doing in there? I was like, smoking meth. What are you doing? Just doing patrols. Just write down in your logbook that I'm smoking crystal meth. Finger my ass too, so what? Guy had no sense of humor. He's like, I'm gonna have to ask you to get off the property. I was like, whoa, I have a room key. Not so fast, hotshot. So anyway, so then I had to leave, and I had to drive around to try to find another It's a lot harder than it sounds to find a place where you're allowed to just park your car and record a video. Everywhere I've gone tonight, I've run into some bullshit problem. I went to 7-Eleven and bought a Monster. The guy charged me $8 for one Monster. Then I drove all the way back to try to find another place, and I was like, what the fuck? I looked at I got a little push notification. It's like, you spent $8 at 7-Eleven. It's not the money, it's the principle. I'm not gonna let that guy charge me $8 for a Monster. So then I had to go back. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What really was weird is that I got here. I'm at some grocery store parking lot. I'm just sitting here, getting ready to record, and I just hear, and I have prison PTSD. Started sucking on my middle finger. I was like, I'll do anything, just don't punch me again. I was like, oh, and I was back to reality. And I look, and I was recording it. I have this. I'll post this video on Patreon. There's this 16-year-old kid wearing a trench coat of all things. He's driving a Honda CRX, something like that. And he's doing donuts. It's 4 in the morning. Well, at that point, it was 3:30 in the morning. And he's doing donuts. He's probably going 80 miles an hour in this parking lot wearing a trench coat. It's the donuts is whatever, but trench coats, I don't even think I've ever owned a trench coat. It's shit that mass shooters and Inspector Gadget wears. And I think that's it. I don't know where you would get a trench coat. They have trench coat stores, floral patterned trench coats. Yeah. Jeez, and now I'm all paranoid. I feel like this kid's gonna shoot me or something. Prison made me that weird where loud noises really freak me out. And also people that look like that in trench coats is what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm kind of just weirded out by that. And I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments that are like, I smoked pot in college. I think Ryan's on uppers right now. I read about him in Newsweek. I'm really worried about him. No. No acne on the forehead. No drugs. It's as simple as that. This is going to be on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out patreon.com/Ryan Leone. It's in the pinned comments. Dude, if this guy comes back, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to keep recording. That's how hardcore I am. That's how committed I am. I'll just keep recording. You're going to have to shoot me to get me to stop telling this story. I don't give a fuck. End of New Mexico. I swear he's coming back, though. I may talk a tough game, but I'm scared of this little mass murderer fuck. Alright. Whatever. God. Alright, so where we had left off last. Let's get into the story now. Where we had left off last. I haven't done a car video for a long time. I feel weird. Like, what if a cop rolls up? So, hold on, man. Finishing New Mexico. I get maced or something. They'll recognize me. They'll be, oh, it's the pimp. Hate being in Santa Barbara. People like recognize me here all the time. I just don't like it here at all. Like, hey, hot tan guy. Palabra. I'm like, fuck. All right. So, anyway, where we left off last time, you gotta really understand, like, how screwed I was at that point. I mean, not to recap too much, but where we had left off last time, I was basically running around Connecticut trying to help JP. Not even realizing how badly I'd screwed him over at that point, but just trying to help him out. Probably, you know, I wasn't that good of a guy back then. Like, I wasn't that solid where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna help my homie. It was more that I probably needed him, and it was like to the point in our relationship where it was definitely like a one-way street. You know, I didn't offer him anything. He was always helping me, and I was always complicating his life. So I think I felt some sort of obligation, you know, just so that I'd continue to have him as a resource. And I'd met up with Luke. His dad kicked me out of his house, and I basically ended up doing the courier stuff with Bruno and his girlfriend Shelly. And then his girlfriend, when Bruno had left, and his girlfriend told me that he was a cop. Now, somebody on Patreon had asked, what does that mean? Was he a confidential informant? Was he an undercover cop? Honestly, I don't know. But if I had to guess, I think he really was. I don't know. I'm not sure. She said cop. You know, typically if somebody's a confidential informant, somebody will say that. I'll be like, he's a CI, he's an informant. She said he was a cop. So, of course, I got out of there. And my whole plan was that I was going to call Kate's dad because he had offered me basically 15 grand just for me to go back to my little rat's nest in California. That, you know, don't ever come back here. Here's money. Stay out of my daughter's life. Now, I didn't know if he was really going to honor that or not, but as I explained in the last video, when you're a dope fiend, you run off of junky optimism like that. You're just like, oh, of course that sounds legit. Guy that broke my nose with a fucking skateboard is gonna give me 15 grand just so I won't come back. Of course that'll happen. You really do think that stuff like that can happen. And then the worst thing that could have possibly happened, and I left those 3 coins in Bruno's hotel. Now, all 3 of those coins were worth $1,500 a piece. So not only did I find it imperative that I had to get those coins back, if I didn't, it's like I had already screwed JP over. Now I screwed him over like 10 times harder. I realized that I didn't have the coins. I realized that after I realized that I didn't have Kate's dad's business card. And it's not as simple as it sounds just to like look up his number. I'm positive that I looked it up in the yellow pages or the white pages and I couldn't find it. And the business card was the reason that I wanted to go back there in the first place. Then I realized I didn't have the coins. So this old lady ended up picking me up. I puked in her car. She gave me $40. I end up getting back to Bruno's motel. And that's where we had left off last time. And I had waited like in this little kind of vending machine area. It had this, I don't really know how to describe it, but there's like this L-shaped corridor. There was this emergency exit. Should have opened, but it didn't. So I kind of was stuck there. And I saw him leave. That was the whole plan, you know, because remember the cab had picked me up. I went and got the little card so I could get back into the hotel room. I saw him leave. And I took that as my cue to go in there, look for my coins, and get out of there. Get Kate's dad's number while I'm at it. I go in there, and it's dark. Blinds were shut. And I turn on the light. And Bruno's sitting at the table. The same table where I've been snorting coke with Shelly and him. And he's looking at me. Now, of course, you gotta remember also, I'm completely dope sick at this point. I had money, but I didn't know where to get dope. So it was kind of like, I don't know. That didn't trump this in this particular instance. In any other situation, if that had happened anywhere in LA, of course I would have gone and gotten dope. But I just wanted to get the coins and get the fuck out of there. It seemed like it was going to be a simple thing. So he's looking at me. He's like, what are you doing here, Leone? I don't know what to say, and I'm just kind of staring back at him. He's like, did you leave something in my room? Huh? Did you come back because you missed the black bitch? The fucking baboon? Sit on the bed. At that point, my nose is running. Like, I'm sick as fuck. And I'm scared. This is the interesting thing about being dope sick and being scared. It kind of counterbalances. You know, it's like when adrenaline starts pumping, you kind of forget about being sick, but not enough to be like on an adrenaline high. It's kind of just, you're like kind of normal, kind of like stunned and shut down. I go sit on the bed. He's like, dude, I gotta tell you something. Shelly's a cop, bro. I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah. And he's like, and I found the coins. I think that you and Shelly were trying to run off together and get away from me. I'm trying to respond to him because I don't really know what to say. It was the kind of thing where like I had to think quickly. And all I remember is like a sharp feeling in the back of my head. Now, this is the first time that I've been hit in the back of my head hard. But I got hit hard. That's all I remember. I wake up. No idea how much time has passed me. Somebody hit me in the back. I have no idea who. In the back of the head. And at this particular place, they don't really have this nowadays. And this wasn't that long ago. I don't know. This was probably 2005. But I remember back in that time, 16, 17 years ago, motels seem to have carpets more often. Nowadays you go to a motel, it's almost always hardwood floors, unless you go to like some old school ass shitty motel. Because think about all the nasty stuff that gets stuck in the carpets. But this place had kind of like I don't know what kind of carpets they were, but like, I guess shaggy is the way to describe it. And I remember coming to, and there was blood everywhere. I didn't realize that it was my blood. I didn't really remember what had happened to me. But when I came to, I remember being really horrified because there was blood everywhere. Dried blood. I felt horrible. I mean, serious time must have passed because I was like deep into withdrawal at this point. Head is throbbing. I'm just like, fuck. Looking around the room. There's nothing in the room. No sign of Bruno, no sign of Shelly, no sign of cocaine, nothing. No sign of no clothes. I've been deserted. And I remember like one of my eyes seemed to kind of like, it almost felt like it was sealed shut. I had a hard time getting up. My side hurt. And I pulled myself up on the bed and I went and I looked in the mirror, like, in the vanity where the bathroom was. I've been beat up pretty bad in my life. But this was definitely one of the worst times I've ever gotten beat up. I didn't just get hit once. My entire face had big knots all over it. This particular eye was almost completely swollen shut. I was wearing some sort of like Abercrombie and Fitch like V-neck with like these little buttons right here, like a V-neck with buttons. Splatter all over it. I got my ass beat. I couldn't remember anything. I mean, I remember that I was talking to Bruno and that somebody had got me. And that would not be the first time in my life that somebody had like snuck up on me from the back like that. But I remember that moment. I knew how fucked I was because I knew that he got off with it. I knew I never going to see that guy again. I try to think, but like the room was kind of spinning on me just because my head was throbbing so bad. And so I started thinking about what I was going to do. I was super sick. I remember going into the bathroom and throwing up a little bit and like blood was coming out. I mean, I got beat up. I think I was crying because I was like always kind of like sad when I get beat up. I'm like, oh, I can't believe someone would do that to me. It's really mean. But I started thinking, I was like, all right, I'm going to call the front desk and I'm going to extend the room. I'm just going to stay here, make this my home base. Put it on his credit card. So I went and back then, you don't see this a lot of motels anymore either, but back then you could like pick up the phone and call 0 and it would go to the front desk. Staying in a hotel right now and they don't even have a phone in there. So I called the front desk and I was like, I remember like my voice was super weak and I was like, hey, can I extend the room for one more night? They said they said Bruno's last name. I forget what it was. It was something like really Italian, like Gariosi or some shit. I don't remember what it was. Let's just say it was that. Mr. Gariosi, can you please come to the front desk so you can show us a copy of the credit card, or you can show us the credit card. I guess you needed to like put the credit card down again if you were going to renew it. I thought that they would just have it on file. So I knew that I was fucked. I was just like, yeah, I'll be there. Hang the phone up. I knew that I pretty much didn't have a lot of time in that room. Now, I picked up the phone. And I looked in my pocket. I had a piece of paper with the phone numbers written on it. And I still had Ashley's number, which is JP's girlfriend. I had the girl from Santa Fe's number. And then I looked in my other pocket. And I was like feeling around. No money. Motherfucker took $40 that this lady gave me. So I was just stranded in this room without anything. And I tried to call Ashley, JP's girlfriend. won't let me make long distance calls from the room. I'm like, fuck. Now, when I was like 11, 12, 13 years old, I got really into computer hacking. I got really into to phone freaking, which probably a lot of you don't know what that is because you're not a fucking dork. Why would you know what fucking phone freaking is? Basically, it's hacking phones so that you can get free phone calls and you can do other things with the telephone service. Like, we used to make these little blue boxes with frequencies so that we could trick the operator on a payphone into giving us free calls. They think that we put 25 cents into the slot. We thought we were like, dude, we're pretty much making power moves. If we do this every day, we save like $9 a month, bro. Pretty much super happy that it took me 3 weeks to learn how to do this. But in this particular instance, it came in handy. One thing that I remember reading about when I was a kid was if you were ever in a situation where you were in a hotel and you needed to make a phone call out, you could call the front desk and have them connect you to a third party to a long distance number. They won't charge it to your credit card. I have no idea if that still works now, but it worked then. Called the front desk. I was like, hey, I'm just getting ready to check out. I was pretending like I was Bruno. And I was like, you think you can connect me to my girlfriend? She's out in California. Yeah, what's the number? I ended up giving the phone number to her. Get a hold of Ashley. Ashley tells me that JP, she's like, where are you? She's like, Luke's in jail. I was like, yeah, I know. She's like, well, listen, she's like, I got good news. JP's getting out, but Luke got busted. I'm like, what did he get busted for? You know, because, of course, I'm assuming that Bruno and Shelly had something to do with him getting arrested as well. But he actually got arrested for fraud. Nothing to do with them, nothing to do with weed, nothing to do with anything. And this was actually a great thing that had happened to me because now I could just blame the 3 coins that I had gotten stolen from me from Bruno on Luke. Now, I didn't just outright and say that at the time, but she was telling me that JP had gotten one of the warrants lifted. I guess he had gotten extradited. He got extradited back to California. So that's where he had like a controlling case. And he was about to get out. He was getting out in like 3 days. Or he was going to be eligible for bail in 3 days. She thought he was getting out. She didn't know that for sure. But it looked like he was getting out in like 3 days. So I tell her my situation. And I tell her that I just got jumped out in Connecticut trying to do, you know, the courier stuff for Luke. I was like, I try to get back to, I explained to her what happened, but I kind of leave out the fact that I got my dick sucked by a 240-pound woman. I didn't say black woman. I wasn't going to be, that would sound racist. And I'm not. I don't need to label people. Even though that's what she was, I'm not going to say that. Because I'm a good guy. So I asked Ashley, I was like, hey, do you think you can help me get back to California? You know, I was like, I'm stranded here. And she's like, how am I going to do that? I was like, I don't know, you don't have a credit card or anything? She's like, she couldn't do it. That was a complete waste of time, but at least I knew that JP was probably going to be getting out of jail in a few days. And I also knew that Luke had gotten arrested for a completely different thing. So I was like, all right, there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. The next call that I make, do the same thing, call the operator, have her connect me to the girl in Santa Fe. Now, remember, this whole time, I've been leading this girl on to thinking that I'm like a pro surfer. This girl was like a fucking off the scale hot, like a 17. It was ridiculous. She wasn't even a person anymore. She was just like a symbol, like a snake with tits. I was like, that's hot. She's like, yeah, I know. Let's surf. So I ended up calling her, and she's like, hey. I was like, hey. She's like, where are you? And I was like, And I'm like trying as hard as I can to present myself as like the cool surfer guy. Because that's what I've been, yeah. You know, I'm out here at another demo. Fuck. Really hot exotic women trying to suck me off left and right. I'm getting sick of it. I'm just trying to start a family. All I want to do is come home and cuddle with someone. Are you interested in anything like that? She's like, my God, yeah. My parents are gone for like 13 more days. You can come here and I'll be the only one to suck you off. I was like, I don't know if she remembered what I looked like, but at that time in my life, I was pretty far from even okay looking. I was gross. I mean, I looked like, I don't know what I looked like, but I didn't look like a hot tan surfer, that's for sure. I looked like a fucking hype. I looked like a junkie with acne. But somehow this girl like she's like, when you get here, we're gonna rock, right? I was like, I was born to rock. And it was really hard for me to like put on that facade as dope sick as I was. So I was like, hey, there's one thing. I got mugged in Jamaica. And I don't have any way to get home. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah. I'm in Connecticut right now. I took a boat. I had to stab some pot smugglers with a machete. I had to surf my way away from it. She's like, that sounds amazing. I was like, yeah, I'm all right. Do you think you can get me a ticket? So I was like trying to, I don't know what I said, honestly. That was just a joke, but I gave her some bullshit story where like I needed her to get me a ticket. And she's like, well, I can use my parents' credit card. If you promise when you get here, we're gonna rock. I was like, come on, babe, of course. She's like, okay. So she ends up getting me a ticket. That was my way out of there. I'm like, all right. Perfect. Right? All I have to do is make it to the airport. It was in the same place as the jail, Hartford. And I think I was 40 minutes from there, something like that. Maybe an hour. I don't remember how long. I think it was like 40 minutes or whatever the case. It wasn't that fucking far. I was like, all right, cool. So she ended up getting me a ticket. I think it was around like 3 in the afternoon, and she could only get me a red eye. And I had to be at the airport by like 4 in the morning, something like that. Not a red eye, but it was like one of the first flights so I had like all day to get there. Oh shit. Oh shit, here's the car. Here's the trench coat guy. Oh my God. Oh my God, that was him. What's he doing? Holy shit. No, I don't know if that was him. Fuck. Creepy, man. Just watching the Richard Ramirez thing. Ugh. People like that out there. Alright, so anyway. So, I had like all day to get to this airport. I was deathly dope sick. And I was like, alright. In my delusional mind, I'm like, alright, I'm gonna get dope. And then somehow maybe I'll spange or I'll hitchhike. Like I had hit this like wave of good luck, so I was pretty sure that I could make it. I mean, I remember I had like hours, like 6-7 hours to get there. And I'm like looking through the hotel room. I'm like, you know, did I leave anything? Coke, money? I'm like looking through the mattresses. Don't find anything. And I'm just about to leave. I'm like, all right. First priority is to get heroin, for sure. Second priority is to get to the airport. And I'm just about to walk out the room and it hits me. I'm like, wait a second. I don't have a fucking ID. Now, believe it or not, it's not the first time this has happened to me, where I've had a flight and I've lost my ID. I'm one of those people that loses shit all the time. I don't know why. I've lived a completely normal lifestyle. Weird. No chaos. It's amazing that I lose my wallet all the time. So, in this situation, I don't remember the last time I was in that situation before that. This may have been the first time. I've done it a bunch of times since then that I can remember, but I don't know if that had happened to me at that point. But when you get in a situation like that, one of the only ways that I know of that you can do it is that you have to go to a police station and you have to file a report to say that you lost your ID. They'll give you a printout, and then you can bring that printout to the airport, and with that printout, they have to honor it because it's from the police. Now, I'm super dope sick off heroin. On top of that, it legitimately looks like I'd gotten jumped by like 5 or 6 people. I don't know what it happened. Dude, I'm getting freaked out. I'm like, hold on, I gotta like change my vantage point here. I don't know about this fucking trench coat. Fuck, yeah. I'd like be turned around. I feel like you're gonna sneak up on me and like slip my fucking wrist or something. The car makes like slot machine noises. It's like this other place I went to do a video. It was like at this park, and there were like these bums fucking in there. I don't know. Their windows were all fogged over. It looked like the scene in Titanic that I used to beat off to, and that was on VHS back in the day. Like, what's this fucking car doing? There's just some random person right there. Oh my god. It's like the end of the road. This is like people that have freshly been evicted in Santa Barbara. Oh, I like being more in the dark. Hold on. Sorry for this brief intermission. See, this is like the lengths that I'm going to try to bring you entertainment. Oh, now there's no light. This is fucking stupid. God, there's just some weirdo in the car right there. Jesus Christ. This is what happens at 4 in the morning. It's just like tweakers and bums butt fucking and shit. All right. Exact same place. Sorry for that monumental waste of time right there. Alright, so anyway, God, we're like